Hi everyone and welcome to 1/6 Figure Focus, and you're very welcome to episode number 14 of the Visions live stream, where every single episode I sit down and talk to a different collector about the past, the present and the future of their collecting journey. This one's a bit of a unique one because it's the first episode that it's not another YouTuber or content creator. Well, no, I'll scratch that. He is a content creator. He just doesn't have a YouTube channel. And before I bring him in, just in case you don't know who this person is, so their alias, or what they go by on Instagram, is at the Sixth Scale Gallery. So that's at the Sixth Scale Gallery. No underscores or anything like that. He's a 1/6 scale photographer, and this is just some of his work because we know that these are high-end collectibles. We know that with the high-end comes a high price tag. And a lot of the times we get these things based on the head sculpts. I know that they have great paint applications and I could go on and on, but look, I don't want to go on all day. My point is that it takes a certain type of photographer to capture that realness. So I'm just going to flick through a few of these things because he took this photo. He took this photo. I don't even know how he did that, but I'm going to ask him. This photo. This, I'm not going to go through his entire portfolio here, but you get the gist. The standard is very, very, very high. So we'll bring him in. This is the Sixth Scale Gallery, otherwise known as Alan. How are you, Alan?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Like, 1 second. I just want to remove this a second. We will get back to that. I have them there, but I just took a few of them off the Instagram page there.
Thank you.
No, I'm really, really happy that you decided to join me here. And so we've streamed before, obviously, on Collector's Lounge, and no doubt we'll stream again on Collector's Lounge, or even if you want to hop on to some of the other live streams, I do. So how's the temperature over there in the UK?
Hellish. I was speaking to Ben earlier, the attention-seeking geek. I'm just going to drop names everywhere.
You're right.
And I think I was replying to one of his stories about the temperature, and I just said to him, mate, like, this is beyond a joke. And Ben's response was just, hell has just opened up, and it's just the UK right now.
It's just, like, it's in, we're about 30 degrees Celsius here, but you're hitting, like, temperatures of 40.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
Like, I know England, like, usually is a few degrees warmer, but that's pretty drastic. You're nearly getting like Australia, Dubai temperatures.
Yeah, well, we're getting like wild bushfires and things like that. And I said to my wife earlier that this type of thing you usually only see in, like, you know, the southern hemisphere type thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's insane.
It's like those terrible wildfires you heard about in the States a few years ago. That was just terrible, drastic stuff. But so it's kind of, we're not really built for there, really. Like, I know, like I lived in Abu Dhabi for 2 years, but everywhere was air conditioned. But I suppose the logic in Ireland, it's like it never gets too hot and never gets too cold. So what's the point in building a house with aircon if you only need it for 4 days out of the calendar year?
Exactly.
You know?
You got heating for the winter, but then
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, might want to look into it. So I'm going to address the chat before we actually get started. So just in case you just joined us, we have Alan here, otherwise known as, on Instagram, it's at the Sixth Scale Gallery. I'll just get his banner up here just to make sure. So if you haven't done so already, do follow at the Sixth Scale Gallery on Instagram. At different points in the show, I'm going to show you some of the examples of his photography, just in case if you don't know what he's about. Like, there's a lot of really, really talented photographers on the internet. And as much as a niche 1/6 scale collecting is, there is a lot of talented photographers up there as well. But it's photos like that don't happen by accident. You kind of need to know what you're doing. So let's take a look at this chat. We have, I'll catch you in the rewind, guys. Disappointed not to see you live. Have a great time. No problem at all, man. Thanks for dropping in. T-Ria, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Ryan Smith, another fellow UK man. How are you, Ryan? Ryan has an open invite to come on here. Where I'm gonna. He needs to get a few things sorted, but I think he's a bit shy, but I'm gonna encourage him on. Like, you know what I mean?
Just gotta jump in.
Yeah, you gotta jump in. He has to sort a few things, and then He said he'd get back to me, so looking forward to meeting him. I've interacted with him a lot on the 6 scale. Yeah, a few times on the 6 scale Scavengers Facebook page, and he seems like a really, really nice guy, and he's a collector through and through. UK Sith, evening gents. Hope none of your hot toys have melted in the heat. You know what? Some of mine in my attic, so ignorance is bliss. I haven't been up there in a while.
Well, mine live in the attic.
Yeah.
So I was quite concerned yesterday coming home from work. I was going to find some puddles.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm just gonna not check until it cools down a bit. Over 40 degrees today in England. That is crazy. Or the UK. What's up, guys? Pleasure seeing 6 scale gallery in the building. Good stuff. We're getting a lot of love here. Some Riley reviews. 12-inch Moose Dream. Hi, all guys. How are you? And Chudy, a Texas native. He's probably laughing at us.
Probably.
These temperatures are not that hot. Like we are in our defense. When we say 40 degrees, we do mean Celsius. Like, so I'm not sure what the conversion is, but it's still pretty hot. So in Ireland, where I am, it's 30 degrees, and then in it's Liverpool you're in, yeah? Yeah. And would it be actually 40 degrees? I know that only certain points have hit.
Yeah, I think further down south, it's been 40. Up here, it's been like 36, 37. So it's not far off.
Yeah, no, not far off at all. Better you than me, man. So in Massachusetts here, it's good stuff. What's the temperature like in Massachusetts there? I wouldn't be too familiar with the geography or the climate of Massachusetts. Please let us know. So just in case this is your first time on this channel, or first time on I'll go through the channel stuff first. I'll just get that boring stuff out of the way. So I just want to go through here. I have a bunch of your photos I'm going to showcase later on at different points in stream.
Awesome. So
just in case, if you're new to the channel and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, it'd be greatly appreciated. Out of all the watch time for the lifetime of this channel so far, 56% of the watch time comes from people who are subscribed. Thank you very much, really appreciate it. And 44% are unsubscribed. So maybe if you do consider it, and if you like what you're seeing and hearing, consider clicking that subscribe button and clicking on the bells and whistles and notifications, so you get a notification every time we drop a new video. So obviously this is episode number 14 of Visions. So we're going to start off with the past. So we'll get that banner up. We're going to talk about the past. But we're going to throw you straight into the deep end, because you know that every time you hear this sound, I'm going to ask you a focus question. So that's one down. Well, this is the first one. You hear that 4 more times. So what do you have? What figure? Either a figure you have on pre-order, or maybe a figure that you don't have on pre-order yet, that you are going to get, that you're really looking forward to photographing. Is there a figure out there that you're like, I want to get that and I want to experiment around with it and see what I can do with it?
100%. It's probably going to be the in-art Joker.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I fell in love with it. Yeah. That, to be fair, that or the Pennywise, the in-art Pennywise. I'm probably going into my spoilers for the future, but Pennywise, the prototypes anyway, they both look absolutely amazing. And I'd love to be the guy taking these prototype images, getting my hands on them and just really kind of showing them off and showcasing them.
And that's something it's, I think with that Instagram thing, it's just you just have to keep taking photos, don't you? Keep taking photos, keep putting up them, and as you grow your Instagram page and stuff, you never know what might know, because you have the skill set anyway. Just keep going, isn't it?
Thank you.
So the in-art Joker, I'm definitely looking forward to that, because I'm looking forward to photographing it as well, and just I'm going to breathe a sigh of relief if it turns out the same. a joy / relief if it turns out the same as the prototype images.
It's a big leap of faith, isn't it? I think a few months ago when the whole Joker thing happened, the pre-order went up, but I felt like we were all kind of excited about it. Do you know what I mean? I felt like a big group thing. But there was that feeling of no one knows what we're getting into with this. It's all fresh territory, kind of.
Yeah, I think it's less of a risk because it's Queen Studios. I know that they make statues, but they tend to hold themselves to a high standard, like and I think that that definitely, it's not like it's a random shot in the dark by some random company. I know that they're not the same. I get that statues are different to 6 scale figures, but I still think there's definitely a bit of like, look, and again, it's not completely in the dark. There's a prototype there. There's prototype videos and stuff like that. So it's like, we know you can do it. But can you do it en masse, I suppose? But yeah, look, I'd be disappointed if it doesn't turn out the same. But at the same time, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. That's just life. It's a first world problem at the end of the day, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, exactly. The world's on fire.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm would I be happy with the money I paid? Essentially paying that amount for something that's substandard? No, of course I won't. But look, if you're not in, you can't win. So
Exactly.
I suppose so. The in-art, in terms of figures you don't have in hand yet that you're considering getting, it's the in-art Pennywise and in-art Joker that you're really looking forward to taking photos of. And I suppose it makes sense because you do a lot of portrait stuff, so that would make perfect sense. So we're going to start off anyway, and I'm going to stop talking, and you're going to start talking, and we're going to listen. I want to know how it all started. I want to know, like, what was your first ever 1/6 scale figure? Was it a hot toy? What company did you purchase it from? When did this all start? Why did you buy it? Did you really think that, okay, this is a one and done, or did you kind of know, this could be the start or something now? I want to know everything, and I'm sure the 15 people in the chat want to know as well. So it's all yours. Go for it.
Cool. To be fair, I think my first exposure to hot toys was, I think it was 2014. I just got a new job. I was working like retail after uni and stuff, so I wasn't on the highest wage. And I started a new job in a photography studio as an assistant. So it wasn't great money, but it was just a little bit more than I was getting paid before. And I think I was on the bus to work one morning, and I was just on Facebook. And there's a comic shop or comic book store in Liverpool called Worlds Apart. And they posted on their Facebook what we'd call now the kind of the blogger images. I think it was Jingle Bell's images of the Winter Soldier from Winter Soldier. And I saw it and was just like, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it was a toy. And I remember sending them the images to my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time. But I was sending them to her saying, like, can you believe that this is a toy? Like, it looks insane. And then obviously seeing the price, I was a bit like, oof, well, I'm never going to own one, but it looks great. And I think it must have been a few months down the line, maybe that kind of winter time. I don't know how I got onto Sideshow, but I found Sideshow, and the Mark 43 was up for pre-order. And I noticed that they did payment plans, and I was like, well,
that's how they get you, Alan. That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. Just 40 quid here, 40 quid there. That's fine.
And I love payment plans.
I live on payment plans, mate. To be honest.
Yeah, I'd rather the slow debt.
Just like a little cuts here and there.
But it's good. It keeps you liquid. You're not like throwing out like 300. I do lie. I am a fan of payment plans. I like to spread out things. But sorry, continue.
No, it's okay, mate. So yeah, it was I think Age of Ultron had come out that year, or maybe it was 2000. Maybe it was the following year. Essentially, it was the 43 from Age of Ultron. I'd seen on Sideshow and loved it. I thought it looked amazing. The Downey Jr. portrait and stuff. I was like, wow, this looks incredible. So yeah, I put it on a payment plan. And I'm trying to cast my mind back, but I don't think there was like a massive delay because it all seemed to go really smoothly. I finished my payment plan and then it got shipped. And then it got hit with
maybe it had just dropped at that time or something. Maybe it
potentially, because I remember there was a big surprise down the line when I was like, oh, like what, why hasn't it released yet? Do you know what I mean? I didn't know how it worked. But I think for my first one, I think it all went really smoothly. And then obviously I got an import charge, which I wasn't anticipating. I think it was about 70 quid or something. So didn't see that coming. But yeah, so I got the Ironman Mark 43 was my first.
So that was your first one that you got from Sideshow?
From Sideshow, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the time, I didn't see it going. I didn't know a hell of a lot about hot toys. Do you know what I mean? Like I saw the odd thing on the site, but I was like, oh, you know, this was like 300 odd quid, 300 odd pound. You know, I'm not going to do that again. Do you know what I mean?
Or so you thought, Alan. So you thought.
So I thought, and so I've told my wife, like, for years, like, oh, this is the last one. I promise. Like, I'm done after this one.
Yeah.
She just says, yeah.
She knows you too well. You see, she knows.
But yeah, so it was the 43. That was my first one, and I've got it right here.
Good stuff. You knew the question was coming. So this is the Age of Ultron Mark 43.
Yeah.
And and so obviously you still have it. You got it from Sideshow. You veiled it a payment plan, and when you unboxed it, when you first unboxed it, and that your very first one, were you kind of like, this is as good as I thought it would be, this is better than I thought it would be, or this was underwhelming? Can you recall how it?
Oh yeah, I remember. It blew me away, to be honest. It was, I remember it because I'd never seen a 6 scale anything before. So I wasn't kind of, obviously, you know, I'd seen the measurements on the website, but you know, when you get it in hand and it's there, I just thought, wow, it's so much bigger than I thought it was going to be, and it was so much more impressive.
Yeah,
I remember just being really kind of blown away by it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's weird. I had the first ones I had were the Joker and the Batman Begins suit, but it was branded the Dark Knight because it's obviously has it at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember opening up going, oh, that thing's creepy. It's just so real looking. And then I loved how the cape, and even looking back, it wasn't the best cape, but I love how it covered him right up, the Batman, and just the detailing right down to the socks on the Joker. I was like, this is amazing. But I remember first unboxing the Mark 6, and I think it's because when you open it up, it's just in that static Turbo Man pose. I was like, oh, I don't know, have I overpaid for this? But as soon as I took it out and posed it up and got it on the stand, put the batteries in, had a few tweaks with a natural looking pose, because it looks so unnatural, you know, when you're in the box. You know, you're never going to pose them like that. But it's just the way it the way it, I remember being, this is worth it. This is worth it. Yeah, it's just that initial when it opens the box, going, I hope I'm able to pose it better than that. But I suppose it's silly because it's in the box. They have to pose it securely.
Yeah, but it's funny what a pose can do, isn't it? I have seen some collectors and they've posted pictures in kind of that kind of static, just out of the box pose, and it really does them a disservice, I think.
You're not maximizing the piece, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So if you have something, the Hot Toys have done their work, and 99% of the time they knock it out of the park. So you have this thing with a beautiful head sculpt with great paint application, whether it's the engineering or the cut and sew, the tailoring, and then to pose it, you just a tweak here and there. Even if it's a character pose, it doesn't have to do backflips. A little character pose, something that it would naturally, that character would actually stand in the movie or TV show, makes the world difference. And then of course you pair it with someone like yourself, the photography skills, it just takes it to a different level. Thanks, so man. Really quickly, I'm going to address some of these chats, because otherwise I will lose the run of the chats, which is great because these live streams, I'm blessed there's people actually watching them.
Me too. I thought I was going to scare people away. Not at all. You never know.
We got 20 in here on a Tuesday night. It's not bad. It hit 40 in my town in the Netherlands. Me no likey. Yeah, that does not sound like fun. Been to the Netherlands a few times. Really liked it. Tatooine-like conditions in Houston, Texas. 99 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
So that's probably around 40 plus, I'd say as well. Bearded nerdy oaf. Why is it we always complain about the weather in the UK? It's always raining. It's too cold. Yeah, we do it in Ireland as well, man. It's like, you know, don't get me wrong. Like, I love when the sun comes out. I love, like, Ireland, beautiful country when the sun shines. It doesn't happen that often, but you really have to be outside in the sun enjoying it. Whether you're hiking or you're mountain biking or you're at the beach or at a barbecue with friends or a beer garden or whatever. But like, it's just when you're home, we're not equipped. We don't have the AC or anything. I think we need to invest in some sort of a fan or something like that. But yeah, bearded nerdy oaf, he's not wrong. Like, we do it in Ireland too. Hello, gentlemen. Just stopping in to say a quick hello. Very much appreciated, Commander Green. Hey guys, a bit past my bedtime, so we'll catch up on the rewind tomorrow, but have a great show. Hit that like button, folks, and sub to these two heroes. Thanks very much, Ben, and also sub to Attention Seeking Geek if you haven't done so already. T-Ria, give him the prototypes. Yeah, I think they should give Alan the prototypes too.
Thank you.
We're in Fahrenheit, okay. Nice to see you here, the 6th scale gallery. Love your work. Good stuff. Poses tell stories. You're not right. You're not wrong. You're dead right. Yeah. Just given a follow on Instagram and a fellow DC van, so he finally gets my vote. Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. So we've already got one other follow from.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, good stuff. I definitely think it's time. So you've established how it all started. So you've established, like, so the Mark 43 was your first. And just before we move on to the next section, the present, could you tell me, like, can you remember, like, when the dust had settled and you're like, okay, this Mark 43 is beautiful. They have payment plans. I did get stung for the 70. Was it 70 pounds? Was it? I
think it was about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a die cast. It's heavy enough.
Yeah.
What was the next? Did you kind of go, no, that's a one and done. It's Iron Man. It's an iconic enough. I don't need another one. Or did you go back to the well straight away? Or
I don't think it was straight away. Well, it must have been straight away or not long after, because I was like, well, I've got Iron Man. Like, I need Cap now. Like, and there's a Cap right there. Yeah, so he was my second, the Age of Ultron Cap. So I think that might have been, I can't remember now, maybe another few months later. I can't remember how the releases were back then.
And at least, like, you had the first one was a die-cast Iron Man. So the sticker shock you would have got that time. And after that, like, if you're getting a regular figure that's not die-cast, it's not going to be as expensive for shocking. So at least there's that. You had the shock first, like, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So
anything after that, yeah.
From Sideshow?
Sideshow again, yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say, like, I was obviously back then I was just new to the whole thing. It was strictly Sideshow, really, because of the payment plans. I quite like that. And just because
it looks like a legitimate site as well. It doesn't look like in fairness, it doesn't look like a sketchy site.
It's a very slick website.
And their customer service is good. I'll definitely 100% give them that.
Yeah, definitely. So to be fair, it was a while before I kind of ventured away from Sideshow to, like, the Hong Kong resellers and things like that.
Before you started rolling the dice, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Before I was getting the good stuff, but this is a good question. Now, any UK collectors watching or collectors from Ireland would definitely be interested in this question. Have you found a retailer that, like, have you, as in not just found, but used a retailer where the customs are cheaper or they mark values down so you don't pay them at all? Have you ever had that beautiful feeling, the DHL guy or whoever comes up, or the postman hands you the package and you're like, no bill, brilliant. Have you had that nice feeling? I have.
Good stuff.
I think I got that a few times actually from Pop Collectibles. I've used them at fair a few times, and obviously the Devil's Workshop, should we say?
Dude, but the first few figures I ordered from there, I didn't get stung for customs. I was like, this is a game changer, but you're going back 3 years. But then something changed and I've got stung consistently. Everything must be going through the books. But then
Maybe.
the bat pod I had to pay €1, which was a total win, which was nothing like so. So when you get stuff delivered from, say, if you have you ever got stuff from Toys One and avoided customs?
Pretty much every time. Pretty much every
Really?
time. I think there's only been one time where I got kind of caught out, and it was a surprise to me because I was like, oh, I thought we didn't do this kind of thing.
I wonder,
Do you know what I
is
mean?
that because Ireland is still part of the EU and
Potentially.
there's stricter laws? It falls into a different thing there.
I think so.
Something like that.
England's the Wild West, mate. Like anything goes. Do you know what I mean? It's lawless.
It's a happy days for saves to customs. So we're going to move on from the past to the present. So just in a synopsis, obviously you Mark 43 from Sideshow was your first, and then you went on to get the cap from the Age of Ultron as well from Sideshow. Got stung with the customs, and then you started thinking, I need to get the goods without paying that. No one likes paying tax. I don't care what it is.
No.
But no one likes.
So to be fair, that was a big part of it, like not having to pay the VAT and things like that, which I shouldn't say is awful. But
victimless crime.
But but it was also I think I remember watching Justin's review of the Armored Thanos. I think it must have been January 2020, I think. And I'd been paying that off on a payment plan on Sideshow, and I was a bit like, oh, Justin's got his. Like, why haven't I got mine? Yeah. And that's obviously when the gears started turning. I was like, oh, he hasn't got his from Sideshow. He's got his from Philip Liu. I think he was under back then, the toy wizard, Philip Liu. And I think you had to like message him through like Facebook Messenger. He didn't have a website at that point, I don't think.
Right.
If I remember rightly.
Gotcha. I haven't heard of him actually.
Yeah, but that was the Toys Wonderland. I think he's the guy. He's Toys Wonderland now. Right. Yeah. So that's what he became. But I was like, if it's good enough for Justin, I might take a punt on this guy and like see what happens. So I cancelled my Thanos from Sideshow, got my payments back, and then that was my very first kind of Hong Kong
dance with the devil, you can say. But you got it in hand anyway, because I've seen one of your photos that I put up there, and I on the slideshow is a Thanos just head sculpt shot, like. So that was the armored clean version. Yeah stuff. That's fantastic. Like, I have the battle damage one, but there obviously there's a lot of overlap, like, so I'm just gonna go through some of these chats before we move on a bit. So we have Bearded Nerdy Oaf. I prepare to pose mine up. Not many are in static poses. Yeah, you're dead right. Keith's from Ireland. What's up, fellas? All good, Keith. Just dealing with the heat. How are you dealing with the heat, Keith? I pick up my merch in NH, no sales tax. So he's in Massachusetts. NH. Sorry, my geography, and that must be the code for a state or something. Let us know what NH stands for. Sorry, I'm asking silly questions. Figures on the radiator. Don't worry, that radiator is definitely not on today.
It's definitely off.
It's hotter outside than on that radiator. Yeah. UK sit. You're giving an extended display idea 6 scale gallery. I've got at least 11 radiators in my house, and I could spread my ever-increasing Hot Toys collection too. Yeah, just not in the winter.
No.
I've gotten 4 on the way from the Devil's Workshop from the sale they have on. New Hampshire, thank you. I want to know what you've got, Bearded Nerdy Oaf, because I am just waiting to pull the trigger on that Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike Mandalorian with the little Grogu in the pouch. I know it's been heavily discounted. When they dropped it down to $229, and I had a $75 voucher, not Hong Kong dollars, actual freedom bucks, and I applied. I put it in the cart. I applied it, and I was still getting it for like all in €270. It's on a shelf here in Dublin for like 550, 600. But I didn't act quick enough. I left it there and I was like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. And I was like, I've done that twice now with them. I need to just pull the trigger. Stupid. I literally I made a video about the Toys Wonderland about 3 weeks ago, and I said, like,
Yeah.
there are deals, but they drop these down. You have to strike while the iron's hot. I literally didn't even listen to my own advice.
You should have watched the
Silly
video.
boy. Yeah, I should have
subscribed.
watched the video. Yeah, exactly. Some YouTubers do that to get the hits up, like, but no, that was silly, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Bearded Nerdy Oaf got from that sale. They had a Vader today for $190.
I saw that.
And I was quick as lightning. Do you know, like,
which version was it?
Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary, which
Right.
apparently Rogue One is the best one to get. However, I've got Snowspeeder Luke, and then next to him I have the Empire Strikes Back. They're both Empire Strikes Back.
It makes sense.
40. Yeah,
it makes
like,
total
I
sense.
just, but $190, and with that coupon would have brought it down to $115. But it's a moot point now. As soon as I get on, it was sold out. Yeah. So, what's the Devil's Workshop URL? I think it's just like devilsworkshop.com. No, it's toyswonderland.com, I think it is. Or I just Googled Toys Wonderland, whatever. So, yeah, we're going to move on to the present. Right, so we're going to move on to present. But first, we'll do a quick question. So this is the second focus question. I actually made a list. I'm not going to show you the thing, but I put your logo, the thumbnail and everything on it. So now
That's
it's yours.
amazing. I like that.
No, it's very organized.
Yeah.
I love this app. It's just so nerdy, but it's called Google Keep. It's a free app, and it just makes lists, like your shopping list, whatever, and they're tick box. So when they tick it, it goes into the done thing, and it's just handy.
I think I need it.
Work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I one of my lists is my pre-order list, and one of the lists is my wish list, things I haven't pre-ordered, and just tick them off as they come in. But
I've got one of them.
yeah, it's handy. So I asked you that question. So on question number 2, if I were to gift you, I'm not going to, I don't want to get your hopes up. If I were to gift you one figure from my collection, is there anyone you'd like, or do you need more information? I can move out of the way here.
No, I can see it.
You can see it. Oh, you can see it already?
Oh, yeah.
I can probably guess it.
Yeah.
It's Mark 6, isn't it?
Nope.
What is it?
The Armored Batman.
The Armored Batman down. Here we go.
Yeah, that's not to say that. I mean, I love the Mark 6. I have the Mark 6. I got the sideshow one, like you.
Yeah. Say again?
I got the sideshow version, like you.
Oh, you got the same
Mark
one, yeah?
6. Yeah.
It's amazing. I rarely meet someone who actually has the same one. It's weird. Like, a lot of people, it's kind of, the prices are really crawling up there on eBay. Like, but I just have an attachment that I figure I can't sell it. So it's the battle damaged armored Batman from Batman vs Superman. That's the one you'd be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, you've got some amazing figures, mate.
Thank you.
That the Boba Fett, I'd love to get my hands on that and photograph that skull. Yeah, the Boba Fett, I should say. It's
the best sculpt in my collection anyway. Like,
it's gorgeous.
It might be their best in 6 scale.
It's definitely up there. If there was a list of like top 5, say, that would definitely be in there, 100%.
Yeah, it's good.
I'd borrow that one.
Yeah,
but yeah, because I used to own the Armored Batman, and I had the BVS Batman and the BVS Superman, and I sold them in 2020, and regretted it. Like, ever since.
Yeah. Seller's remorse.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the time, kind of like, DC was done. I was done with it after Justice League. I was a bit like, I kind of cooled on them. And I wasn't taking pictures of them. I didn't have an Instagram at that point.
Yeah.
For that kind of thing. So they were just kind of there, and I'd look at them and I'd go, oh, they look great. And then that was it. And I kind of like lost the love for them.
Yeah, that's fair enough as well.
With like, COVID and stuff like that. Like, I don't think I worked for 5 months. Like, I needed some money.
Yeah.
And also like all the Endgame stuff was coming out at that point. Like Hawkeye and Black Widow, and that's kind of where my focus was going, like more Marvel. So I sold them to Dean Knight,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I know I subscribe to him and follow him, and I know who he is.
He's got I don't know. He's got like a website that he runs with his mate called the Figure Pit, and
Right.
they buy figures off people and then sell them on essentially.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
So I did that. I didn't want to do the whole eBay thing.
Yeah.
I've got literally no experience in that, and I just I don't know Dean Knight, but I know he's not going to rip me off.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with them, sold them all, and I sold Daredevil as well. I had the Netflix Daredevil, sold them all, and yeah, I managed to get Hawkeye and Black Widow and things like that. But obviously, Snyder Cut came along, and that kind of like re-energized the DC love. Do you know what I mean? And the Affleck Batman love, and yeah, I really do regret selling them.
I suppose would you ever consider going back and like picking up? It's just that day is done. Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's done. I think the price would just be too inflated. And to be fair, I keep seeing I have seen people's Affleck Batman in the BVS version, like the suit kind of deteriorating a little bit. So I don't know if it's got that longevity. But then I've seen others that aren't. But yeah, definitely the armored Batman. I'd love to have. Yeah, I'd love to rewind. What's take yours?
Well, if I ever sell it, like you'll get the first refusal. And the interesting thing about that is like, I actually like Zack Snyder, but I don't like the Justice League or the Snyder Cut or anything like that. And it's just I wanted a Superman. Basically, I watched Batman versus Superman, but I'm familiar with the source material for that. It's the Dark Knight Returns. I've read the graphic novel. I have it downstairs. I've watched there's loads of on Apple TV. They have a lot of the actual animated versions of those graphic novels. They're amazing to watch. They're adult kind of cartoons, but they're awesome. But when the boys eventually fight, I think they handled it well. And I like the build up. How how is he going to fight Superman? This is how and he's got he's doing the training for the heavier suit. Yeah, he's sourced the kryptonite because he's a billionaire. He's made the kryptonite bombs. It's a meme, but it's prep time. They showed the prep time. Like everyone knows, in a real world, there's no chance Superman's gonna go that. Your man's his head's gonna explode. Maybe like Homelander vibes, but I thought they did it well. And then when they actually fought, I actually liked the fight, and I liked the design of the suit, and I was definitely biased because I liked the source material, the Dark Knight. Yeah, exactly. So Returns, but I love the way they're posed up together, even though that is technically the Batman's technically BVS, and the other one's the Justice League. Yeah. I love the vibrant blue suit. I love the vibrant of the. It's just It
really pops.
Pardon? It does
really pops on the shelf.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to address a few chats before I let these run away. Is the Devil's Workshop Toys Wonderland? Yeah, and look, if you want more information on Toys Wonderland, I did a video on my channel. It was just called My Experience with Toys Wonderland. It's not a roast. It's not an endorsement. No. It's just these are the pros.
It was a great video.
Cons. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's too easy to go on and bash them, whereas I give I suppose constructive criticism, but also why do I go back to them? Because of the deals. So I outline in detail all my pros and cons with them, and I bought off them a lot, and I've made a lot of savings. I've saved more using them than Sideshow, but the customer service is definitely better with Sideshow, no question. Well, even that being said, if Toys Wonderland always get back to you, it's just the geography as well. They get back to you, half a day later, because daytime, nighttime. I don't have to explain that the Earth is round to people in the audience. Not going to insult everyone's intelligence, but there's people out there who they really
they expect it right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I do.
These guys are asleep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But So the bearded nerdy oaf, Gwen Boba Robot 2-pack and the X24 Battle Damage and Spider-Man Anti-Oxu. Yeah, that's... Man, tell me. So I know that the Gwen was like $137 or something like that. I saw the Anti-Ox suit was cheap as well. And the Boba Robot 2-pack. How cheap did you get it? Just go on, rub it in. I want to know. I love when people get a good deal. Wonderland, I get it. Yeah. Gutted, I looked straight for that Vader as well. Yeah, I'd say everyone's dropped their cereal, dropped the spoons, and straight onto that when I saw that this morning. Hello there. How are you, Insane One? Thanks, Bearded. You're welcome, Moose Dream. So, Batman can defeat anyone with a little prep time. That is the rumor going around the streets. He said Pops they prefer Funkos confirmed. He said Pops. I'm not sure what that's about. Must be some banter in the chat. Toys Wonderland has to do a better job of being forthcoming with shipping costs. Couldn't agree more. They need to offer cheaper shipping costs. That's 100%. And it doesn't matter if you're getting DHL 3 days, DHL 5 days, or Hong Kong 15 working days or whatever. It needs to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Other companies are offering the same. So then Black Tom Cruise, when Toys Wonderland brings back PayPal, I'll be happy. Yeah, a lot of people weren't happy when they dropped the PayPal thing, but I use their partially payment plans a lot, and they've never screwed me over, so I'm going to keep using them until I get screwed over. What I don't understand is these people who say, oh, I ordered off them like 3 times and I've had 3 bad experiences. So a dog bit you once and you let it bite you twice more.
Put your hand out again. Just go somewhere else, man.
Yeah, it's just go somewhere else. And like, I will go somewhere else and I will tell everyone what happened if it happens. But no, I haven't had a bad experience yet. The one I did have one, but I explained it in the video, and it turned into a very, very good experience.
Yes, it did actually.
Which I won't bore you with because I know you've watched the video.
Watch the video, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 29 in the chat. So we're going to move on from the. We're going to move on really quickly after this comment. It was just over £200. So after shipping 300, that's great. Yeah, the best deal was the X24, £24. I'm not familiar with the X24. What's the X24? I'm missing something here. I need to check that out. But the £300 shipped, yeah, that would be cheaper, wouldn't it? Loco Lou is here. Loco Lou, how are you? What's popping, people? And he says, hit the like button. I don't think I've ever done a stream where Loco hasn't encouraged people to hit the like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Thanks, Lou. I hope you're good. So it's a third party. Right. Okay. Good stuff. Right. So in terms of the present, like, do you know like how many 6-scale figures you have?
Yes, I counted them in preparation for this stream. Actually,
thank you. Good stuff. Most people don't. I don't know.
I have 55.
Man.
Yes,
that's some collection.
Yeah.
Because I think the way I have mine displays suggests I have a lot more than I do. Because I'm only around. I'm about, and first of all, I'm very. And if you have one of these figures, you're privileged. If you have several,
massively,
we're all privileged. But I mean, I'm around the 30 mark. But it's kind of like I have to. What's the word I'm looking for? I definitely have to be disciplined with it.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, one of the things I admire about you is you seem to show self-restraint. Do you know what I mean? You have a vision.
Occasionally.
Yeah. You have a vision in mind for your display. Whereas me, it was over the years, it's been very scattershot. Oh, I love that character. I love that film. I love that. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I get you.
It's kind of grown a bit out of control a little bit.
I get you.
Like I think 3 or maybe 3 of those figures are boxed up just because I don't have room for them. So, you know, I may have 50, but like
Yeah,
the details are looking a little cramped. It's not as clean as
I got you.
some
Yeah,
people's.
How many details do you have?
5.
All right, so
5.
you 5 as well. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And would you have say 2, 3 per shelf then, or how would it work? Or
Yeah, I think max. I think there's 4 on one shelf, but one of them is Rocket, so you know he doesn't count.
He doesn't count. He doesn't count.
Yeah, I think maybe 3 on the whole. But to be fair, I have got like a half detolf shelf that I bought from someone because I've got Thanos in one, so that kind of takes up.
Yeah.
You know, that essentially takes 2 cubes and kind of breaks them up. So I've got essentially 3 figures in those 2 spaces. So that kind of eats at the space.
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find though, the floating shelves like I have definitely gives a different display option, because behind me this is kind of like my bread and butter. This is the main display where you have, if I want to do 1 per shelf, that's 5 details by 4, that's 20 figures. So which I do think is the cleanest way of displaying these 6 scales. But then if let's say my collection goes to 60, then it's a case of rotating out. But I was like, okay, that's grand, but I don't like buying things if they're not displayed. But the 5 floating shelves, like just looking at them, like if I wanted, I could, you know, have 2 or 3, a whole scene going on. Like, you know, you could have the speeder bike on one of the shelves. You could have Mando trying to use the flamethrower on the top, the display, flaming down at the other one. You know,
that'd be amazing.
Have someone behind the speeder bike, you know, shooting up with them. So, and you could easily, I would imagine, get the same amount of figures here, but it would look like a whole scene.
Yeah.
So there's something I'm kind of looking into, because at the moment it's not posed like a scene, but it's more or less end game at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's the 2 bottom shelves are Mark 85 battle damage and endgame cap, and you have Iron Patriot Rocket and endgame Thanos battle damage. Now on the top I've got the Far From Home and the drones, but Loki will probably go up there, or might have Thanos up on the top or something like that. But you know what I mean? It's like, this is the kind of almost like the museum collection display where you're in the character poses, but then you could do a bit of dynamism. Something I'm working on in my head, and I am lucky because I have a IKEA Millsbo down in the living room. It just ties in with the decor because everything tends to be like black rims and stuff like that. But the vision for that would be icons: hero, villain, hero, villain, hero, villain.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I know that like this room's actually quite small, but I think I maximize it as much as I can. I really do want to maintain 1 or 2 per detail here, but I can do the scenery around here. It's just thinking in mind, because sustainability is so important. Like,
exactly. I think it's always it's constantly a work in progress, isn't it? Like it is.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes things have to go. You know, and that's
exactly like
sometimes things have to go.
The Age of Ultron cap, that's boxed up now, just because Endgame came along. You know, he's my definitive cap. I
agree.
So you know, and you know, it shows its age now. I think the Age of Ultron version, like the traps aren't there, the sculpt's a little bit off. The Endgame one just blows out the water. So that, but I do like the magnetic shield, kind of thing. You know, that
that's a nice
sticks to his arm. It's pretty cool. So I was a bit like, and because I think I said to you before, I am quite sentimental. So kind of boxing that one up was a bit like, you know.
Yeah, I get that.
But I just haven't got the room for it.
I've only sold 4 figures, and you know, I'd be quite attached to things sometimes as well. But I know that sometimes my head will overpower my heart and go, no, think of the big picture, like, you know. So when I selling the DX02 is a bad example, because the DX02 is a horrible figure, which I'm not going to go into. I just but I knew the DX19 was coming and it's going to blow it out of the water. But selling the Joker, that was still, it was starting to look dated, and I thought no, something better is going to come along. They'd announced the DX19. It was looking like they're going to do a Joker 3.0.
Yeah, I would have put
No
money
one
on
saw
it.
it in art. Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, I hope I made the right decision here, because I don't want to have to go backwards looking for a DX11 or even further back to the one I saw. But what I know that there was better out there, and like, but hopefully the in-art delivers. But so at the moment, your display area is up in the attic. That's why it's too hot to be here at the moment, or
Yeah.
be there at the moment. You have 5 details, and you're at around the 55 figure mark. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think the best way of showing these people in the chat, there are 30 people in the chat. Thank you so much. I want to thank, obviously, Alan for being here. Now, we're not going anywhere yet, and I just want to thank the 30 people who have taken time out of their day to watch the two of us have a conversation about collecting. But if there's one thing you do today, if you haven't followed the Sixth Scale Gallery, I'm going to put it up here on Instagram. Please do so. And I'm gonna sell this for a minute or two, and I'll be asking you questions maybe as we go through some of these. So these are all these are all photos taken by Alan, who's here now, at the Sixth Scale Gallery on Instagram, of his collection. Like, these are on the blogger type level, in my opinion. I'm a photographer myself, but when I say that, I'm an amateur photographer. I know the basics, and I enjoy it, but this is a different level. So I'm going to ask a few questions. Like, what are you shooting with, Alan?
So I have a Nikon D810. It's like a full frame, like a SLR, basically,
Right.
like a kind of professional level camera. And it's just because I am a photographer, like that's my job, day to day. And when I first started out, I had like a kind of like a cropped, like a crop sensor camera,
Right.
kind of like an entry level SLR. It was about 300 quid. And kind of the head photographer was like, if you're gonna, shoot professionally.
Yeah.
So I think I bought that about 6 or 7, maybe 6 years ago. And I've shot weddings with it. Like I've shot events with it. And it kind of hit me like, why didn't I collected these things the whole time and never took any pictures of them. Maybe like the odd one on my phone. And I was like, why aren't I doing this? Like, so that's what it kind of led to that. Like I had the gear.
That would be the most obvious thing to the person looking from the outside in, but you weren't putting, yeah.
Did it all backwards. It was just like, why did I take pictures of them? But I think the first picture I ever took, because I've got like another Instagram account. It's called Awesome Geeky Stuff, and I started that like a good few years before this one, and it was just like I collect all sorts of different things because it was going to be hot toys originally, and I thought, but my interests are quite broad. Like I collect like I'm a gamer, so I collect games and I collect steel books, like movie steel books and things like that, and like concept art books, and it's just all sorts of stuff. So I was like, well, why don't I just have a more general?
I've never flicked through a concept art book that I didn't like. Never. Like, just awesome.
It's just something about seeing like
just
different designs and different concepts and
aggression.
and especially like with Hot Toys doing the odd concept figure. Like the concept cap and even the Iron Man and the Iron Strange, things like that. It's like, oof, like you could easily flick through a concept art book
and see something
Hot Toys. Just go, oh, like there's so many like different designs for Thor in Endgame, and it looked a bit more like Nordic, a bit more Viking.
Not so much the comedy side of things, like
so you could easily you could pick so many out and like have they could make figures from all of these different concepts. But I just love different concept art books and like so I start. But let's go back. The first picture I ever took with my camera was the Mark 46 power pose.
Right.
And then I posted it and I was like, oh, okay, like I'll just keep doing that. And then it was I was putting a lot of hot toys of this kind of stuff on there, and I thought it's getting a bit
getting the traction, like.
Yeah, and so I decided to make this just to focus on these, because I felt like these needed like a dedicated kind of space. And like you've got it kind of makes me think of like your display, but like if I had just that of portraits and things. I know I've got
I get
the
you,
odd like mid shot, but like just to have that kind of gallery kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like you go in and see them all on the wall possibly.
And do you do post-production on these as well with Photoshop or something like that?
Yeah. So I put them in Lightroom, and that's where I'm like just the shadows and the take with this Pennywise, for instance, like taking some of the highlights down, because on that kind of that right side, like it was just blowing out a little bit.
Gotcha.
So just knock the highlights down a little bit, and that will bring out kind of the texture in the sculpt. And so a little bit of cleanup in Photoshop. So if say a figure's got like,
and is it Lightroom and Photoshop? Sorry, I should notice, but I don't. Is Lightroom just part of the Photoshop package? Are they the same thing? Are they different?
Yeah, no, it's all from like the Adobe kind of suite. You get Lightroom and Photoshop and like Bridge and Illustrator and all that. But
I got you.
I just literally just need Lightroom and Photoshop for what I do and where.
I gotcha.
And it's kind of I shot a wedding like a few weeks ago. So my Lightroom has just got like 2,000 images from this wedding that I'm kind of going through. And the guy that I shot the wedding for, I work with him, and he's like, "Oh, can you show me some of the images from the wedding?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I guess." But I have to be really careful because my Lightroom's also full of this stuff as well. So it's like I've got this in between like a bride and a groom shot, and I'm just like,
that's hilarious.
Just wait there. Like I'll get them up.
You should do a mock-up, an album, and go, here it is, and just have Pennywise slotted in there, but then give him the real one. I'm gonna flick through some of these because I think I definitely want to have a look at them. Okay. This one here, is this the Mark 43? No. So
that's the 50 head skull.
Ah, right. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Basically, what I did, it was in a few years ago. I didn't have any lights, so all I had was the strip lights in my detail. So it was literally like a sheet of black cardboard, on the back pane of glass, and the sculpt was just kind of sat on a little I don't know, like a little perspex bridge or something. So you can probably see in his eye the strip light or the reflection of the strip light.
I can see something, all right.
Yeah. So that is that basically, and I kind of like vignetted it quite heavily in Lightroom to kind of like bring those shadows in.
But then, like, say this effect here, which looks like he's talking to Friday or whatever like that. How did you?
That is a Google image of like a screenshot, basically.
Oh, right.
I painted out Downey Jr.'s face and just plonked.
Brilliant. That like because if I showed that to anyone, they would go, "Yeah, it's just a still from Iron Man. What's the problem?" No. That's magic, man. I really do like that. But like,
thing
it
is,
makes
like,
so much. Go on.
No, I was gonna say, like, if you saw me how I did it, it's like the most. Do you know what I mean? You'd see like
I'm picturing
tape, and it's just like the most janky thing ever. But if I can fool people, then
because these all look like we all know like but the high price tag, you do tend to get high quality, and like 99% of the time they do knock it out of the park. But
100%.
like these all look okay, apart from Pennywise, but these all look human. Like but Pennywise is not supposed to look human. Like that's fantastic. So all of these images are of Alan's collection, and he Just in case you didn't realize from looking at the photos, he is a professional photographer. But he needs to get you need to, the wedding's behind, and Howard Chan needs to give you a buzz, but he doesn't really talk to many people. So, and this one here, this is right up my alley now. I love I just have an entry level Canon SLR. It's a 1300D, and I have I have a little pancake lens. I don't think it's actually a pancake. It's the ones that tiny little things. I can't remember what.
Is it 50 mil or 35?
It's not actually. I think it's. Oh God! I can't. 1 second. Grab it. It's not the Nifty 50.
Everyone needs a Nifty 50.
The thing is, I was going to get a Nifty 50 back in the day, but I don't know why I didn't. It's a EFS 24mm. I think I went for this because it has auto tracking for video or something like that. But that's it. Like, and what I like about it is I don't have to zoom. I remember I did a basic photography course back in the day because I went to New Zealand. It was beautiful, and I went back 2 years later and was like, right, well, I have to get a good camera. Got a camera, didn't know how to use it. Anyone with an Instagram filter and a smartphone was taking better photos. So when I came back and went and did an introduction to digital photography course just to get the basics down, and like this was one of the things that just from the more I learned, it's kind of going, I want to get closer. And I was reading something, some famous photographer said, if your images aren't good enough, you're simply not close enough, or something like that. But I love just focusing on one point and obliterating the rest, but you still know who it is. I love this, like just with you pinpointed the hand and the coin. It's there's no that didn't carry over, right? But just in case, it's at the 6 scale gallery. They're on the bottom here anyway, and it's obviously up on the bottom. But they're just great photos. So I'm going to address the chat because I don't want to neglect them before we move on to the hardest part, which would be the future. So we've got 1 second. The two of us up here. I think that works out a little better. So I'm a bit behind now, am I? I'm good behind. All right, fly through these. Really quickly. So the X24, I think, is a third party of the clone Loco Lu, bringing the love in. Yeah, X24 from Logan. I'm with you. I'm with you now. So it's Wolverine's double he fought. Okay. What is the figure you've left in the longest pose? How long, and is it still in that pose? Yeah, we're going to answer this one. Do you want to take this one?
I'm not a massive dynamic poser, to be honest. I kind of like a static dynamic pose, if you know what I mean. Like
character poser.
Yeah, that's kind of what. Just because I'm afraid of breaking it, and I'm afraid of things wearing out. Like to be fair, like this Iron Man, because of the base that it comes with, it hasn't really got a level plane. It's kind of like rocky on one side. Yeah. And so kind of, I think for years it was kind of propped up on the rock, and now it's really loose. Do you know what I mean? Like all the joints are a bit
I get you.
Loose, and so I think that's probably this. I think, and that was the lesson that I learned, was like don't do that.
Yeah, I'm desperate for doing that. I find a pose I like, and I'm like, right, that's you for the next 40 years.
Yeah, no, I did the same.
I'm not sure if you can see. Where's the see if I can get a second. So the Spider-Man Homecoming Deluxe. So one second, I get us back here. Yeah, when I moved house, like I boxed up everything, but I really liked that pose, and I didn't want to have to take the blazer off and then take the hoodie off and then pack all that stuff away into some plastic pieces. And I was like, because the way I saw it was like, I was so happy with how the figure doesn't look bulky despite having the Spider-Man suit and the hoodie and everything. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to mess with that. So that's been in that pose for ages. And to be honest, that's kind of this pose that He's got the bag. He's got the
Yeah,
headphones.
it looks great.
It
It's
made
Tom
me buy
Holland.
it. Yeah,
Tom Holland Spider-Man in a
yeah,
pose.
yeah.
You
I'm
know,
gonna leave that like that. He's a third-party moose screen. Yeah, one of the best photographers in the game. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely would give those bloggers a run for their money.
thank you.
Definitely need to control the constant desire for more hot toys. I've had to extend my collection room into 2 man caves. Don't be showing off, flexing on us like that, making us jealous.
Figure flex
But
Friday.
I've kind of, well, I have my own collection room. I'm very, very lucky to have that. But and some stuff down in the living room. But it's not all over the place. I wouldn't like to have stuff all over the place. I just kind of confined.
Keep it clean.
Can't wait for the in-art Joker. It's going to turn out great. This man inspires me for my photography. Good stuff. You're getting a lot of love here and well deserved.
Oh,
I just followed you. Great work. Yeah, surely everyone in the chat has clicked that follow button for Alan and at the 6 Scale Gallery. Just pre-ordered Iron Strange. Very psyched. Good stuff. Are you guys picking up the Iron Strange? I'm not. Are you, Alan?
I'm not. I'd love to. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pass on it just because I just don't have the room again.
Yeah.
I've got, in my mind what I've got coming, and it's just one of those where it's just outside of the plan a little bit.
I get you. Love the approach you bring to figure photography. So you treat it like an actual portrait. Yeah. The special edition of the Iron Strange is already waitlisted on Sideshow. Maybe folks are getting it and keeping it quiet. Possibly. And a lot of conversations.
Does that come with the kind of the portal background? Does it come with that?
I think so.
Because I'd be very tempted to get it for that, to be honest.
Yeah. They should have done like a true scale, 1/6 scale portal already with one of the Strangers. It's like his main accessory, really.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to the future now, which is kind of the tricky part sometimes. But I'm going to first, I've been slipping up. I've been enjoying the conversation too much and I haven't put you under pressure. So,
I'm very glad.
Right. This is a quick one. So you don't have to say, it's not really a talking point. You've seen those announcements, not really announcements. There was a bunch of things teased. Some were announced last week. I'm going to say an item that we saw at the toy fair, and you just give me a yes or no. Yes means yeah, I think that's going to go up for pre-order. They're actually going to allow people buy that, and no is like no, that's not going to happen. That's just they're doing it because they can do it and it's for the show. So you don't have to go into detail.
Okay.
Just go yes or no. So will the following be put up for pre-order? Will they actually allow people to buy these things? The 1989 Batwing.
No.
The N1 Starfighter.
No.
The quarter scale Mark 6.
Yes.
The Vulture.
Yes.
And Cobb Vant.
Hopefully. I'd like to see it. But I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah, I actually think our answers are similar. I definitely think they're gonna.
You've got a question mark about the Mark 6, haven't you?
The Mark 6, no, I think they're gonna do that. I just think a lot of people weren't happy because they were expecting a reissue of the 1/6 scale. But if it's quarter scale and it's battle damage and it's my favorite suit, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, I don't see them doing the N1. I see them doing the 1989 Batwing for the N1, but I don't think we're going to get either. The Batwing, possibly because it's 1/12, but I don't think they're going to do the N1. Cool.
So
I'm going to ask you.
Was the N1? Was the N1 1/6? Was it? Or...
Yeah, it was 1/6 scale. Like, so it's you have to build a house around it if you want to keep it. Like, but so just before we go on to the future. So this is the fourth focus question. What's the number one figure that Hot Toys have made and released in the past, but you don't have it and you want it, but you don't think they will reissue it? I'll just give you one example. The DX13, they've made it in the past. I don't have it. I want it. I don't think they're reissuing that one.
I'm gonna say, thinking through, I'm gonna say probably Yondu.
Yeah, I think, you know what, Yondu is a popular answer on this show for that.
Is it?
A lot of people want the Yondu. Yeah.
I just, you know what? Like if I'd kind of known how much I was going to love it down the line, I would have. But I mean, can't change the past, can I?
Yeah, yeah. Why did you have it and sell it?
No.
Oh, no,
I
you
just passed
so
on
you
it.
never had it. Yeah, gotcha.
Never had it. I'd love to get a hold of that.
Yeah, I'd like to see the shots of it. So, right, we've discussed the past, we've discussed the future, or sorry, we've discussed the past and the present. So I'm going to ask you just a few kind of warm-up questions before we wrap this up. Do you think you'll be collecting in 5 years' time?
Yes.
Do you think you'll be collecting in 10 years' time?
Yeah. Yes. Only because I can't see myself stopping.
I gotcha.
You know.
So like, what I mean by that is like, okay, let's say, will you, for the rest of your life, do you think you'll always be collecting in some capacity? As in, like, if someone has 2 or 3 Hot Toys that they're never going to part with, I consider that you're still a collector. You just have a small collection. So would you see yourself in some capacity collecting into the future?
Yeah. I mean, it's all like, it's tough, isn't it? Because, you know, I've got 3 kids, so that's difficult.
I would imagine.
Yeah. And as I said about the space issue, like, we're thinking about moving house, you know, in the near future, just, you know, to get like a better area for the kids for school and stuff like that. But the kind of the houses that we're looking at don't really accommodate a collection room. Do you know what I mean? I looked out at this house because the attic was all like converted and stuff. So I was like,
exactly.
I'll put all my stuff up there.
Yeah. So,
like, it's
priorities, isn't it? Like, you know, obviously the family and the kids come first, and then it's
yeah.
But it
would be an extremely difficult situation for me, I think, where, you know, when we do get to that point where we seriously consider, like, oh, what about this house? What about this house? What about this house? What about this house? In my mind, I'm like, where's my room? Do you know what I mean?
Like, I get you.
Maybe not this house. Like, let's look at a different one. Do you know what I mean? One with a space for my stuff.
Yeah, but you know, it's a lot of collectors I've heard that, like, they're moving from an apartment to a bigger house, or from a house to a bigger house, and they do, when they're viewing the houses, sometimes it just clicks and you get one going, this would be perfect, this would keep everyone happy. I know it's you have to do a lot of looking and stuff like that, and sometimes you don't have the time for that either, like, you know, and obviously, you know, obviously family and kids come first, like, but then there are other display options, I suppose, as well.
Yeah,
like, you know.
No, for sure. I mean, like, obviously the modular case thing, like, it's a bit, they're very, very pricey, I think.
Yeah.
But, you know, even things from, you know, different setups from IKEA and things like that. You know, there's so many different display options. You know what I mean? Like, smaller display options and
cheaper alternatives to modular case as well.
Yeah. And yeah, it's you know, it's definitely a first world problem to have. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I haven't got a space for all my toys and
exactly. Yeah. But you know, like, sometimes you don't even need a room. It's just one wall, and the right display a case or something, because I know the module cases have that 1.5 2 years wait time, and they're very, very expensive. But I suppose with kids, are your kids young? Are they?
Yeah, kind of. The youngest is 2 in August. I've got a little girl. That's my little boy, Isaac. I've got a little girl who's 5 in October. That's Erin, and James is 8. So they kind of, they're all
very young. Yeah.
But I mean, they're totally cool with all this. I wouldn't let my youngest near it, because he will throw them around. But I remember James, when I had the Superman, I had the kryptonite, like the little LED kryptonite, and he loved it. He used to be like, "Oh, can I hold the kryptonite?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool, you can hold the kryptonite." And I'd just be like looking at him like, "Please don't drop it." But yeah, sometimes, like, because when I do all my photography, I shoot it on the dining table. So usually they're kind of in the other room, just sitting around, and sometimes they'll come over and like have a look, but a lot of the time they're not interested. They don't really. I'm like, "Oh, who's this? And they're like, Batman," and then they'll just turn around and keep watching.
That's it's funny, I suppose. Like it's different kids, different time. Like whereas it was me, I'd be like, "This is the coolest thing ever." So you do see yourself collecting in some capacity, but with moving house, obviously that's going to be a challenge, and you have to prioritize. Like, like definitely, I've spoke to a lot of people who have kids as well, and they say definitely it's a different level, because like the kids are the priority. Like especially if they're young, they're not like like 18, 19-year-old kids or something like that. Like but do you see like what direction, like would you going into the future, could you see yourself like focusing on one particular IP, or do you have any sort of a vision or a plan? Do you know what it is? What is your ultimate goal? Like, if you could do whatever you wanted with a collection room or module cases or one space, what would be your ideal setup? That's what I'm asking.
Ideally, I would love to have like a bunch of, I'd like to have a Marvel kind of area and a DC area. Do you know what I mean? I know that's quite basic, but then you've got things like Pennywise. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of ones that don't fit.
The one-offs. Do
you know what I mean? Like more horror, because I've got a couple Predator figures as well. Yeah. Which are really kind of like falling apart now. All like the pleather straps and stuff, they all just turn into bits. But like that kind of thing, I'd like to have kind of, I don't know, it's difficult, because I do like Marvel, and I do like DC. I love Marvel, I love DC, and I love like the odd like monster that comes out. But like I keep seeing all these like Star Wars like figures coming out, and I don't own any Star Wars figures. I'm not like a massive Star Wars guy, but like,
you're better off. It will save yourself a small fortune.
Like all of these releases that have come out like the last like few weeks, and all the announcements, I'm like, I feel sorry for you guys, man.
Yeah. But you know what? It's even I compartmentalize. I will like I'm not going to collect anything from the animated series. I will not collect anything from the sequels. Even the prequels, like the only figure I have is Commander Cody, because he's a trooper. He's a clone. He's a trooper. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's I kind of go nope, and I go
pick your lane, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you've got to. There's so much Star Wars. There's so much Star Wars, and
so much easier to buy into the hype. Like, and then you're in it. Then you're in the spot about it.
For sure. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much to the end of the show, and I'd be surprised now by the way you're talking if you didn't know what I'm going to ask you. But I want to know your 3 fire figures, and just in case anyone in the audience doesn't know what they are, we're not trying to be cool. We're not saying it the way the teenagers say it. God forbid your house is on fire and everyone is outside safely, and you have time to grab 3 1/6 scale figures. If this ever happens, people, which I hope it doesn't, just go. But
just leave.
I want you to humor me. What are your 3 fire figures? Which 3 1/6 scale figures are going to come with you?
100% DX19. That's coming.
Speaking my language. You were speaking my language.
Like when sorry, just to go off on a slight tangent. When I first got into the hobby, my three grail characters were: I need to get a Christian Bale Batman.
Yeah.
I need to get an Avengers Loki and a Dark Knight Joker. When I, first got Iron Man and Captain America, they were the three that I was like, I need those characters at some point. So it would be Batman.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have the others at the minute, so I can't grab them.
You can't.
I can't. But I think
you.
I think probably. It is a tough one because I've got like custom bits on certain figures, like the Loki that you showed a picture of before. That's the sculpts from like 1/6.
That's a custom sculpt.
Yeah, so you can't replace that.
Yeah,
things like that. I'd grab him. The last one. Oh, the house. I can see the house burning, and I'm like,
trying to make a decision.
I'd probably grab Armored Thanos.
Oliver Pilgrim winding me up. Shane, your head is so fired. It's funny. Cam is in the house. How are you, Cam? He's saying hello. Good stuff. So the DX19 is coming, and have you established? You any idea what the other two would be?
That Loki. I think I'd have to grab Loki because I can't. The insurance isn't going to replace that. It's custom. And I've just got a new sculpt for Thanos, which is on the Armored Thanos body, so I'd grab that as well because, again, can't replace them.
No, that's fair enough. Solid logic. So, if you haven't done so already, follow at the 6 Scale Gallery on Instagram. Is there anything coming up on your Instagram page? Is there anything like you're photographing at the moment or you want to photograph that we'll be expecting to pop up on the Instagram?
Probably what have I got coming? To be fair, like I'm just cherry picking figures like that I've got at the minute. Like I've got Captain Marvel from her film. I think I really need to shoot her and get a nice portrait of her. So that's on my little to-do list. And like maybe a few more Iron Man, the kind of what would you call it? Not the full sculpt, but the kind of partial.
Oh yeah, gotcha. I actually really like them. Yeah.
I do as well, actually. So I've got. I want to do a couple of those, like the Mark II, which I've got.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, just
you that's how you approach it. Is you go how you feel. I wanted to shoot this one today, and
yeah, essentially.
Excellent. Well, obviously, thank you very much for joining us. Another photographer, 1/6 shooter, and has a YouTube channel as well. Thought I was following you. I am now. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everyone for joining us. Really quickly, I'm just going to outline what is coming up on the channel. So yeah, look, I'll do the whole plug thing. If you're watching, you haven't subscribed to 1/6 Figure Focus, I'd appreciate if you click the subscribe button now. It's free. And if you also click the bell notification icons, you'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. What videos might they be? So Ben Thomas from the Ben Thomas Show is joining me on episode 15 of Visions this Friday. These are all scheduled, so but I'll go through Greenwich Mean Time. But if you want to check out the time in your area, just go onto the channel and have a check. They're all scheduled, and they'll be scheduled in your local time. So this is this Friday. I think it's 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Then after Collector's Lounge, we have Brendan Riley on episode 16. So that'll be 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And then on Monday, the 25th, we have another man from the UK. It's Reviews with Rich on episode 17 of Visions. And that'll be 10 p.m. on Monday at Greenwich Mean Time. What's actually live on the channel now at the moment? That's the wrong one. Oh, did I forget? I did forget to add in my slides. I did. Okay, so basically, I put up a pre-order preview for the Listerine Iron Man and Neo and the Arena Boba Fett. And I also put up a very fun video yesterday called Internet Breakers. They're hot toys that haven't been announced yet, but they're kind of no-brainers, and I think a lot of people will get very, very excited. They break the internet basically if they release. For example, Mace Windu is on that list, and there are 7 others, so if you're getting a chance, maybe check that out. Apart from that, thanks very much to Alan for joining us. Thank you very much for being in the chat, for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I think we're going to leave it there unless there's anything else you'd like to add in or anything, Alan.
Just thank you so much for having me on, man. It's been a real blast. I was super nervous, just because it's difficult having the spotlight on you, isn't it? Like it's when you're in a group of like 6 people,
you can hide.
You can hide just a little bit and like you know, recover.
No, I think you did great, man. I think you did. If you were nervous or shy, it definitely didn't come across.
Thank you.
You were humble, which is good, because it's great when people who are skillful and humble. Sorry,
no,
across you.
No, it's okay. I just want to say a big thanks to you as well, just in this little public arena. Like before I did my first live stream with Lael and you guys, like you really helped me out on, you know, what to do and you know, gear wise and things like that.
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
And just in general, you've been really, really supportive and stuff. So I just want to say thank you for that, mate. It's been,
man, no problem at all. You'll find that's I obviously really appreciate that, because and I know how it feels well, because a lot of like Lael's helped me out a lot. Marco from 16fix has helped me out a lot. Every time someone watches a video, they're helping you out a lot. Every time someone's, you know, like and subscribe and leaving a comment, asking a question, like it is a network. And you know, like you said, sometimes the world's on fire, but this community is for the most part, they're like Hot Toys head sculpts. 99% of the time, they're really, really good. You know what I mean? There's a small percentage of
there's an Ant-Man here and there,
but you know, sorry.
There's an Ant-Man here and there.
Yeah, there is. You know, but you know, you just don't give them too much oxygen. You just, you know, hit them back with a troll and move on. Folks, thanks very much. Really do appreciate you watching and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're going to leave it there, and that's pretty much it. See you in the next one. Good luck.